On June 12, 2026, hundreds of millions of people logging into Anthropic's Fable 5 and Mythos 5 were met with failing requests. In an instant, two of the most capable artificial intelligence models on Earth went completely offline. The United States Department of Commerce ordered the shutdown, invoking national security authorities to issue a mandatory export control directive. The order explicitly banned any foreign national, anywhere in the world, from accessing the models. That strict restriction even applied to Anthropic's own overseas employees who helped build the systems. Anthropic has no reliable way to filter out foreign nationals from American users in real time. To comply with federal law, the company had to flip the switch on its flagship products, cutting off access for the entire planet. To pull a widely used commercial tech product off the market overnight requires a severe trigger. According to Anthropic, the government received a report that a competitor had found a way to bypass Fable 5's safeguards. This technique allegedly allowed the AI to autonomously scan through massive software codebases and identify hidden security flaws. Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei had previously sat before Congress to warn lawmakers that uncontained artificial intelligence could eventually pose exactly this kind of cyber risk. Now, a single reported vulnerability exploit accelerated those theoretical warnings into immediate federal intervention, turning a 3-day-old consumer product into a regulated threat. Anthropic didn't launch Fable 5 blindly. Before release, they spent thousands of hours stress testing the model, a process called red teaming, working directly alongside the UK's AI Security Institute and the US government to find weaknesses. To keep the model safe, Anthropic built classifiers, a digital bouncer evaluating every prompt. If a user requests sensitive tasks like cybersecurity exploits or biochemical compounds, the classifier intercepts the request, instantly routing it to Claude Opus 4.8, an older, restricted fallback model. Anthropic reported that these failsafes catch almost everything, but Friday's directive made one thing clear. No matter how complex the internal safeguards are, tech companies no longer have the final say on whether a model is safe to deploy. The technique that slipped past these bouncers was a specific, narrow jailbreak. It essentially tricked the model into reading a target codebase and identifying software flaws it was otherwise restricted from touching. Anthropic argues this is a minor issue, not a universal bypass that broadly overrides the model's safety systems across every category. They point out that competitor models, like OpenAI's GPT 5.5, can discover the exact same vulnerabilities without needing any trickery at all. Yet, a verbal report of this narrow exploit from another company was enough to prompt the Commerce Department to issue a zero-tolerance shutdown order within hours. This highlights a structural paradox in artificial intelligence development. When you build a system capable of compressing months of engineering work and reading 50 million lines of code, the intelligence required to fix a system is the exact same intelligence required to break it. Anthropic concedes that perfect resistance to these bypasses is likely impossible for anyone. If this strict federal standard remains, every future high-end model deployed by any company faces the constant risk of being abruptly pulled offline. The mechanism the government used to enforce this blackout is just as revealing as the software exploit itself. They relied on international export controls. For years, Washington has tightly regulated physical technology, restricting the global shipment of advanced computing hardware and physical silicon chips to maintain a strategic edge. Regulators are applying those hardware rules to intangible software. They are treating digital code and AI weights with the same severity as controlled physical munitions. By using export laws to restrict access to digital models, the administration has effectively created a shadow licensing regime. They can lock or recall technology they deem too risky without having to establish a new, transparent statutory process. Global technological competition now centers as much on software repositories and AI weights as it does on the silicon foundries producing the hardware. This creates an immediate complication for the global tech workforce. Foreign nationals employed at American AI companies are suddenly legally barred from testing and using the very systems they spent months building. For developers and businesses across the globe, the shutdown mid-project exposes a massive operational vulnerability. Relying on remote, cloud-based intelligence means handing over control of your mission-critical infrastructure to external regulators. This is driving a push toward AI sovereignty. Companies and governments are realizing they need self-hostable, air-gapped systems, models that operate entirely on local hardware, completely insulated from outside internet connections and sudden regulatory sweeps. The June 12th directive proved that cloud intelligence is rented intelligence. If you do not physically control the servers running your AI, a single government letter can make your entire digital brain disappear overnight.